Hello there, friend. My name is Sarah, and today I will be leading you through a 20-minute gentle yoga flow to help you slow down and recenter. We will be doing legs up the wall pose, so I recommend a block or a blanket today. If available, you may want to position yourself close to an empty wall, and we'll start our class today in a comfortable seated position. If you have a block or blanket, you can set it underneath the hips. And take a few breaths here, maybe close the eyes, just take a moment to simply land, allow yourself to arrive. Notice if mind begins to wander, and can you use your breath like a tether to bring yourself back into the space, back into the moment, back into the body, back into the mind. Bring more attention here as you inhale. And open mouth, let it go. Again, full breath in. Full breath out. Notice here how the breath moves through the body as you inhale. The belly begins to fill, ribs begin to expand, chest lifts, heart rises. Sip in a little more air, hold at the top. Open mouth, empty the breath. We'll do a 3-part breath. So what that is, we'll inhale, fill up through the belly, hold for a few moments. Inhale, fill up through the chest, fill up for a few moments. As you inhale, fill up all the way, we'll hold, and then take a big exhale to let it go. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and exhale, cleanse out the last breath. As you inhale, fill up 1/3 of the way through the belly and pause. Inhale, fill up another 1/3 through the chest and pause. Inhale, fill up all the way through the top, hold, let that breath swirl around. Open mouth, empty the breath. Take a few moments here to recover, allow the breath to return back to normal. We'll take that one more time. On your next exhale, empty the breath, let go of that stale air. Inhale, fill up 1/3 of the way and pause. Inhale, fill up another 1/3 of the way and pause. Inhale, sip in a little more air, hold at the top. Open mouth, empty the breath. Again, letting the breath return back to normal. And just take a moment to notice any sensations that may wash over you. Just allowing them to enter and leave, just as we allow the air to enter and leave our lungs. And stay here longer if you need. If legs are crossed, you can switch the cross of the legs. And we'll begin to add a little movement. Releasing through the neck and shoulders, you can let the chin hang heavy down towards the chest. And then maybe gently rock ear from shoulder to shoulder. Full circles if that feels good in the neck. Option to inhale, shrug shoulders up towards the ears, and as you exhale, release them back down your spine. Just moving the neck, shoulders in different directions, about 4 or 5 breaths here. About 1 or 2 more breaths to even out. When you feel about even, we'll pause through center. Inhale, sit up nice and tall, stack shoulders over hips. As you exhale, let go of any tension you may hold through the shoulders, the hips. And on your next inhale, we'll again sit up nice and tall. On your exhale, bring your right ear over towards the right shoulder. Allow the head to hang heavy, feeling a nice sensation along the left side of the neck. A few breaths here, maybe close the eyes. And then just noticing the sensation through the left side of the neck. Notice how that might change as you subtly tilt the chin up and down, maybe forward and back. Eventually finding stillness, pausing somewhere where the neck feels good. We'll hold here for a few breaths. Option 2, place the left fingertips down on the mat and maybe tiptoe the fingers a bit further away. And last option here, you can take your right hand and rest it gently on top of the head, just acting as a gentle weight, not pulling or pressing in any way. About 4 more breaths. Whenever you're ready, you can release the head back through center, maybe lower the chin in towards the chest. You can rock ear from shoulder to shoulder. Notice how maybe one side of the neck feels a little different than the other. Just taking any little movements here you need to release before we take that to the other side. On your own time, when you're ready, we'll let the left ear hang over towards the left shoulder. Option 2, plant the right fingertips down on the mat over by your side. Maybe tiptoe them a bit further away, noticing the sensation through the right side of the neck. Again, option 2, close the eyes and then just notice how that sensation may shift through the right side as you subtly tilt the chin up and down, forward and back. Maybe just a barely visible movement in the chin, but noticing how that might change through the right side. A few more breaths here. Option 2, rest the left hand on top of the head. Again, just acting as a soft weight, not pulling or pressing in any way. About 2 or 3 more breaths. When you feel about even, we'll release the hands, come back through center. Any movements here through neck, shoulders to release, even out. And on your own time, we'll make our way to child's pose. We'll bring the chest forward, arms can extend out in front. Knees can be together, maybe knees out wide. As you sink your hips back down into the heels, forehead down onto the mat. Option 2, close the eyes. Maybe tilt the head side to side, massaging through the forehead, release through the neck, the shoulders. You may choose to stay here, or we'll find a side bend. Walk the hands over towards the left corner of the mat, maybe even stacking palms on top of one another. Try to keep the weight even through both hips as you lengthen not only through the right side, but also through the left. 3 breaths. If you're in the side bend, you can slowly walk the hands over towards the right corner of the mat, maybe stacking palms over one another. Again, working to keep the weight even through both hips and finding space not only through the left side, but also through the right. 3 more breaths. When you feel about even, we'll come back through center. And then your next inhale lifts you up through tabletop. We'll take some movement here through cat-cow. As you inhale, you can drop the belly, maybe lift the chest, lift the gaze. As you exhale, tuck the chin in towards the chest, round through the spine. About 4 or 5 more breaths here. Any other movement, maybe side to side. Option to shift the weight forward and back, maybe stretching the forearms, the wrists. Any little movements that feel good through the spine, the body, maybe even pausing in any direction that feels good. About 1 or 2 more breaths to even out. And when you feel about even, we'll meet back in a child's pose. Send your hips back towards your heels. Option for embryo pose, bringing hands by your sides. A few breaths here. Take a moment to reconnect with the breath. And stay here longer if you need. Whenever you feel ready, inhale lifts you back up through seated. This time we'll bring the legs out in front and we'll meet in a seated bound ankle pose or a seated butterfly pose. Soles of the feet together, knees out wide. If you have a blanket, you may set it underneath the hips. If you have blocks, you can set one underneath each knee for extra support. Heels don't have to be super close in towards the hips. If it feels better in the body to extend the toes forward to create a little more space, you may do so, making those adjustments, creating a little more space here through the hips. We'll start by bringing the thumbs in towards the arches of the feet, wrapping the rest of the fingers around the foot. You can start to draw little circles into the arch, giving yourself a little massage. And then staying here, or begin to draw circles up towards the balls of the feet, maybe even pulling on the toes. A few more breaths here, giving your feet a little love. You may choose to stay here in the movement, or if you'd like, we'll make our way into a fold. So on your inhale, reach the arms up overhead, stack shoulders over hips, find length. On your exhale, begin to reach the chest forward. You can bring hands out in front, maybe forearms. About 7 or 8 breaths here. We're about halfway. Notice if you hold any tension through the hip flexors, the jaw, the shoulders. And with your next exhalation, can you make the choice to let something go? About 2 or 3 more breaths. And stay here longer if you'd like. If you feel ready, we'll lift back up onto the seat. You can use your hands to bring the knees together, plant the feet down onto the mat, and you can rock the knees side to side, creating some movement here. No rush to get there. Eventually, we'll make our way onto our backs. You can hug the legs in towards the chest, or maybe find a happy baby, reaching for the outer edges of the feet, or maybe the ankles or shins. A few breaths here. You can gently rock side to side, beginning to massage through the low back. Eventually, we'll hug the legs back in towards the chest if you're not already there. And taking a twist, we'll lower the legs over towards the left. Gaze can stay lifted, or maybe let it fall over towards the right. About 5 or 6 breaths. And slowly, as you're ready, we'll bring the legs back through center. Any movements here? And when you feel ready for the twist, we'll lower the legs over towards the right. Gaze can stay lifted or maybe let it fall over towards the left. About 5 or 6 more breaths. When you feel about even, you can come back through center. You can hug the legs in towards the chest, maybe find the happy baby. We'll make our way to legs up the wall. If you have a blanket or block, you can set it underneath the hips, extend the feet up towards the sky. If you have a wall nearby, you may scoot the hips up against the wall as you extend the feet up towards the sky. And if you don't have a blanket or blocks or a wall, you can set your hands underneath your hips, palms facing down if that feels okay in the wrists and the hands, and extend the feet up towards the sky. Otherwise, you also have the option to plant the feet wide onto the mat and let the knees fall together at the top, creating a little tent shape here with the legs. Option to close the eyes if you'd like. We'll take about 5 or 6 breaths. You may choose to stay here or begin to lower the legs back down. You can windshield wiper the legs side to side. A few breaths here to take any last movements you need before we begin to settle towards the end of our class. We'll end with some breath work once again before we meet in our Shavasana. If you'd like to take this on your back, you can make your way there. Option to take this from a seated position. We'll do a 5, 7, 8 breath. We'll inhale for 5 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8. We'll do 3 rounds. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and exhale, cleanse out the last breath. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale. We'll be here for about a minute. If you'd like more time for your Shavasana, you may pause the audio. Otherwise, I'll be here to bring you back into the space when it is time. You may choose to stay here longer if you'd like. If you feel ready to come back to the surface, you can take a full breath in and empty the breath out. Option to stay here or rise back up into a seat. And we'll seal our practice with a final breath. Together, we'll inhale, begin to feel it through the belly, ribs, chest. Open mouth, let something go. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my practice with you today, and I hope to be with you next time you're on your mat.